Seeing behind me is of the legendary and iconic typeface by the name of Wingdings. Now, I posit that Wingdings is actually almost a spiritual successor to the emoji. And Vox has developed and done some research and really published an interesting deep dive into the history of the Wingdings font. So, let's talk about the weirdness of Wingdings. Now, Wingdings was created by a legendary typeface company. They also developed the font called Lucida. Okay, they're called Bigelow and Holmes. They're still around, legendary design studio. But the interesting thing about it is how it was created. So you may remember this, back in the day with older computers, it was actually quite difficult to copy and paste images into a text document. Because things were often stored on floppy disks, which had a laughable amount of space on them, it was very important for them to develop some kind of software where you could put in an image without using any additional space. And that is how the font was born. So there was a workaround so people could have high quality, scalable images that didn't clog up their soft drive. So Charles Bigelow and Chris Holmes developed the font Lucida. And they were at the vanguard of digital type. But to be complete, their font needed complementary characters that worked well with the letters. So as a result of using Lucida, they came up with three fonts: Lucida Icons, Lucida Arrows, and Lucida Stars. Now, how they turned into Wingdings, Microsoft Windows didn't really have a lot of space when it shipped. They didn't have a lot of room for fonts. But they decided that they would take those three fonts and combine them into what we now know as Wingdings. So that is a common, a combination of the words Windows and dingbats. Now dingbats, if you know anything about type history and how the print press used to work, dingbats were these kind of floral adornments and things that typesetters could use in order to decorate their pages. So they combined those two, Windows and dingbats, to come up with the name.
Days after 9/11, I went through the Pentagon and I saw Secretary Rumsfeld and Deputy Secretary Wolfowitz. I went downstairs just to say hello to some of the people on the Joint Staff who had used to work for me, and one of the generals called me and he said, "Sir, you got to come in. You got to come in and talk to me a second." I said, "Well, you're too busy." He said, "No." He says, "We've made the decision. We're going to war with Iraq." This was on or about the 20th of September. I said, "We're going to war with Iraq. Why?" He said, "I don't know." He said, "I guess they don't know what else to do." So I said, "Well, did they find some information connecting Saddam to Al-Qaeda?" He said, No. He says, "There's nothing new that way. They've just made the decision to go to war with Iraq." He said, "I guess it's like we don't know what to do about terrorists, but we've got a good military and we can take down governments." And he said, "I guess if the only tool you have is a hammer, every problem has to look like a nail." So I came back to see him a few weeks later, And by that time, we were bombing in Afghanistan. I said, are we still going to war with Iraq? And he said, oh, it's worse than that. He said, he reached over on his desk, he picked up a piece of paper, he said, I just got this down from upstairs, meaning the Secretary of Defense's office today, and he said, this is a memo that describes how we're going to take out 7 countries in 5 years, starting with Iraq and then Syria, Lebanon, Libya, Somalia, Sudan, and finishing off Iran. The truth is about the Middle East is, had there been no oil there, it would be like Africa. Nobody is threatening to intervene in Africa. The problem is the opposite. We keep asking for people to intervene and stop it. And there's no question that the presence of petroleum throughout the region has sparked great power involvement.
Does it live in a jungle?
No. Oh.
Is it really fast?
No.
Does it live on the Great Plains of Africa?
No.
Hey!
What is going on? Hold on, guys.
Daddy, be careful on the road.
Jerry?
Get back in your car right now! Remain with your vehicle!
Are you okay?
We're getting out of here. Terry, what is this?
It's the same worldwide. Is anyone doing better than we are?
We don't know.
my family.
I'm not gonna force you.
Don't pretend you're not well suited for the job.
Baby.
Tell the kids I'm coming back. Just, I'm coming back.
The bird phoenix is an object of praise by men since the beginning of civilization. The magnificent animal is found in the Persian, Egyptian, Greco-Roman, and Jewish mythologies, among others. The phoenix is a bird with red and yellow feathers, usually depicted as a bird of prey, but can also be seen as a flaming peacock. The bird is a powerful animal. Even though it is portrayed as having the size of many eagles, the creature can fly, even with elephants in its claws. Its tears were another power of this animal, since they had the ability to heal any wound or illness. The phoenix could also cover its body with fire, so when it flew in flames in the middle of the day, some perceived its brightness as being the sun itself. But the main reason for such praise of this animal is its immortality. According to Hesiod, the bird lived 9 times longer than a crow, something around 500 years, and when it realized that its end was near, the phoenix made a nest of cinnamon, sage, and myrrh and burned itself, leaving only ashes behind. From the pile of ashes, a new phoenix was born, one that gathered the remaining ashes of the bird that preceded it, placed them in an egg of myrrh, which was taken to Egypt, to the city of Heliopolis, and placed on the altar of the sun. Its ashes could bring the dead back to life. The phoenix's myth of immortality was so powerful that the young and eccentric Roman emperor Elagabalus wanted to eat a phoenix to become immortal. His servants looked for the animal and could not find anything. To avoid coming back empty-handed, they served the emperor with the bird of paradise. Nonetheless, the meat of the bird of paradise does not provide the power of immortality. Taking into account that the ruler was killed by the Praetorian Guard only 2 years after eating the delicacy, the myth of the phoenix may have weakened in terms of importance during some periods of our history, but like the mythical bird, its symbolism has always managed to be renewed. In our pop culture, we can see the bird in works like Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix. The phoenix is up to this day a universal symbol of rebirth and the beginning of a new cycle.